Hey friends, welcome to Flite Test. I'm Josh. Today we're going to be showing you all about our second receiver ready release. This is the FT Adventure. So the FT Adventure is the second plane in our receiver ready line here, and I'm really excited. It's another mini coming at 640 millimeters. This plane can go from a conventional tail dragger to a tricycle gear all the way to floats. With a 640 millimeter wingspan here, this isn't your typical micro. This is more in the mini size, and we actually kind of modeled this after our Mighty Minis. We really noticed that the Mighty Minis handled moderate wind really well, but also if you had a really large indoor space or a small backyard, this plane was at home with it. You can expect about 8 to 12 minute flight times with this if you use the 550 milliamp 2-cell battery. You can go as light as 350 milliamp, but make sure it's all the way up in the nose where you may have some tail weight issues. For the motor, we have a 2630 kV, and that motor will spin a 6.4 prop. It's not needed, but if you want to use the optional flaps, you can certainly put those in separately. I'd recommend using about 15 to 20 degrees. Around half throttle is where you're going to find your happy cruise altitude. You can do moderate climbing and maximum maneuverability. Anytime you fly an airplane, one thing I recommend to do is always take it up, put it into the wind, slowly back off your throttle, and slowly increase your pitch. Then you get to see what the plane stalls like and what kind of characteristics you have. We were really careful to make sure this plane was as gentle as possible while still being very scale. Since you have 3 different landing gear configurations, you also have 3 different ways to take the plane off. If you're flying from the tail dragger configuration, I'd strongly recommend putting it into the wind, slow gradual throttle, let the plane build plenty of speed while you slowly keep control tracking straight. Oftentimes when people take off, they try to make the plane fly too early, and then oftentimes results in a stall. So with a tricycle landing gear, you have the benefit of a steerable nose wheel. Make sure that you have the minimum throws on your steerable nose wheel. In other words, that the push rod is pre-installed with the push rod all the way on the furthest out belt crank on where the nose wheel plugs into. Taking off is really simple. It's the same process as before, but what you want to make sure again is you have plenty of airspeed before it lifts off. The natural angle of attack that you'll have on the plane will naturally let it lift into the air when it has proper speed, so you don't really need to worry about pulling it into the air. For taking off the water, or in this case AstroTurf, one thing you really want to be careful is not to lift it off too soon. When your plane has enough speed, you're going to notice it's going to naturally lift up, and you really want to fight the tendency to pull back on the stick. Maybe on a conventional airplane you're giving yourself a 3 count before you pull back on the stick. You're going to want to give yourself about a 5 count with pontoons. Really let that airspeed build up, and also keep in mind you have a lot of mass underneath you, so you're going to have really smooth flight characteristics, but you want to avoid things like inverted flight. One thing that was really important to us, just like in the Beaver and frankly for all future models, is we want the plane to be as accessible as possible. So if you want to do any modifications, if you need to do any repairs, you don't have to cut into your mini airplane. You can actually pop it apart. Common theme in this is we love our magnets. So we have a magnet on the front cowling that you can pop off. That exposes your motor. We have a top canopy area which you use for putting your battery in and out. But also if you remove your wing, you're going to see that this plane is incredibly open. That means you can access your servos, you can access your motors, you can get to your ESC, you can make any tuning or modifications that you need. For this model and all future receiver ready models, flexibility is really important to us. Typically in a model this size, you'll see many different connectors. This plane is powerful enough to be able to handle any combination. So what we did is we have an adapter kit. This gives you the ability to fly many different receiver combinations like micro for spectrum, or your conventional PWM receiver connections. So I think we've said many times before, but we cannot express how excited we are for this chapter. One thing we're always going to do and we're committed to doing is really examine the world of DIY aircraft, making sure we give you guys plenty of free plans and speed build kits for the entry level all the way to the master builders. But these receiver ready airplanes are really special to us as well, because this is something that can not only get people in the hobby quicker, maybe they don't have a fascination with building, but we're really excited for also what this product is going to do in hopefully hobby shops. Our goal is to re-energize hobby shops and make this kind of a hub of activity for our flight test community to not only buy things, but also socially get together, learn, build, and have fun. And friends, we want to thank you for being part of the Flite Test family, and also thank you for checking out the tech channel. If this is your first time here, this is where all of our tech videos, our reviews, our product overviews, educational content in general is going to be here. So make sure if you haven't already, give us a subscribe, give us a like if you like this content. These are now available in stores and hopefully a hobby shop near you. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time.